You ever have one of those moments where your whole life tilts, like someone's just nudged the axis you've been spinning on and suddenly gravity feels off? That was me standing in front of the Riverside Hotel 2 months ago, holding a crumpled wedding invitation that might as well have been a court summons. My sister Valerie's wedding day. 250 guests. A small intimate ceremony, she'd said, all dreamy and soft. Everyone was invited except me. Yep. Her only sister. No typo. No mix-up. The envelope had my name on it all right, but right there beneath the elegant curls of her fiancé's name were the cursed words, "Adults only reception to follow." At first, I actually laughed. Because obviously, it was a joke, right? Me, who'd planned half her bridal shower, babysat her through every breakup, loaned her a down payment when her last job tanked. That me, not invited? But 6 minutes later, after a phone call that I should have recorded for evidence, it turned out she wasn't joking. It's just, space is limited, Chris. Brandon's family's huge. His parents are paying for most of it, so, and I swear I could almost see her shrug through the phone like 3 decades of sisterhood had all boiled down to event catering math. I pressed my lips together so hard they went white. "I'm family," I said, trying to sound calm, not like the coffee mug in my hand was shaking. "I'm your sister, Val." And she just sighed, kind of rushed, like I was inconveniencing her. "I know, but please don't make this harder. You can come to the ceremony though, okay?" That would really mean a lot. I hung up before I said something that would burn the last bridge we had. I remember staring at the gold embossing on that invitation later that night, how pretty it looked in the kitchen light, and ITH. This is the most expensive slap in the face I've ever gotten. Anyway, fast forward 6 weeks. I still went to the ceremony because I'm apparently a glutton for emotional punishment. There she was, gliding down the aisle like something out of a fairy tale commercial, all lace and sparkle, and everyone around me sniffing and whispering beautiful. And she was, God, she always had that movie star glow, but when the priest pronounced them husband and wife, and she turned her head just enough to see me smiling, she looked right at me and then, nothing. Just turned away, linked tighter on his arm, walked straight out into her new life like I didn't exist. So yeah, after everyone poured out of that church and into shiny black cars for the adults-only reception, there I was, standing in the parking lot in a thrift store dress and a stomach full of resentment. I drove to the Riverside anyway, I'll admit it. Not sure I even realized where my GPS was taking me until I was parked right outside the grand ballroom. The music was soft but expensive, the kind that costs extra for the live saxophonist hiding near the bar. I could smell roses before I even saw them, like the whole place was drenched in perfume and money. And through the glass doors I caught this perfect snapshot. Valerie laughing, her new husband spinning her into those ridiculous chandeliers, everyone clapping like an advert for happily ever after. And I thought, wow, that's one heck of a family celebration. Family. Just minus the sister who lent her half the furniture in that fancy house they've been borrowing for years. Oh yeah, the house. My grandmother's. Mine now, technically. She willed it to me before she passed. A little craftsman home on Birch Park Lane, white shingles, blue shutters. The kind of porch people photograph for lifestyle magazines. When Val fell apart after that cheating ex dumped her, who was it that offered comfort and space to breathe? Me. Just stay till you find your footing. Don't even worry about rent. Val, famous last words. 3 years later, she and Brandon were still living there like it was gifted, hosting dinners, repainting walls without even a text, and posting Instagram pics with captions like our cozy home vibes. So yeah, that night outside the ballroom, something snapped, audible almost, not loud, but sharp enough I could feel it click behind my ribs. For 28 years I'd been the even one, the fixer, the she won't mind sister, and in that moment, I decided maybe I would start minding. I went home, poured a glass of whatever was open in the fridge, sat down with my laptop, and opened an email I'd archived months ago from my lawyer. Jerome. Kind eyes. Terrible coffee. He drafted a notice ages back when I first half-joked about charging rent. I'd never sent it because, as usual, I didn't want to make things weird. Well, Things were already weird. You ever feel so furious you get eerily calm, like every thought starts lining up neatly, efficiently? That was me, filling in the blanks of that form. Full names, address, date. 10 days notice required by state law, my lawyer brain because apparently I transform into a paralegal when wrong checked every line twice. Then I hit send. Now, here's the wild thing. Revenge doesn't feel the way you think it will. It's not fireworks. It's a tremor. It's your heartbeat in your throat and this low electric hum in your bones. It's certainty where indecision used to live, but fate loves a plot twist. By morning, my phone was buzzing with texts first polite, then guilt-laced. Mom, naturally, had joined the circus by breakfast. Carmen, how could you? She's devastated. You'd think I'd bulldozed a puppy shelter. I tried explaining it. How they'd taken advantage for years. How boundaries aren't cruelty, they're survival. But she kept saying that word like it explained everything. Family. Family where debts don't count and apologies expire instantly. Valerie texted, to just a breezy note from her honeymoon in Bali. Heard about the notice. Let's talk when I'm back. Like she'd misplaced my charger. Not 3 years of free housing. I stared at the screen till my coffee went cold. Then I forwarded it straight to Jerome. Proceed as planned. And that's where the story should have ended, right? Sister gets lesson. I get closure, credits roll. Except real life doesn't stick to tidy scripts. The threat started small. Anonymous numbers. Messages like, you're making a mistake. Or people talk, Chris. Don't ruin your reputation over this. I assumed Valerie vented to her new husband, Brandon, that he was just being controlling and cocky. But then the vibe shifted. One morning, I opened my front door to find photos scattered on the welcome mat, me walking to work, me at the grocery store, me jogging. Someone had been watching. My fingers went numb flipping through them. I went straight to Jerome. This is harassment. He agreed and called the police station's legal department to log everything. Brandon's law smart, Jerome said. He knows how to stay just inside the boundaries while scaring you silly. He wasn't wrong. My mother's calls got icier. Valerie's grew fewer. Then, right as the 10-day deadline hit, my workplace got an anonymous envelope plastered with my photo and the word unstable. Imagine walking into the break room and seeing your own face stapled to the notice board like a mugshot. My boss, Patricia, sturdy lady, heart of gold, called me into her office. Is this true, Carmen? Are you being harassed? I nodded, holding back tears. She didn't blink. Then we'll handle it properly. No one drags my staff through the mud for the first time. I felt seen, like someone finally recognized how insane the situation had gotten. But as darkness creeps in, it creeps quiet. The night before the eviction took full effect, my phone rang, Valerie's number. I almost ignored it, but instinct won. Her voice was tiny, trembling. Chris, I need to tell you something. He's not who you think he is. Brandon. He isn't who I thought he was. You're safe, right? Silence. Then, there's a gun in his drawer. My blood froze. He kept it hidden, and he's furious. Please, whatever you do, don't come tomorrow. When the line dropped, I panicked. Half for me. Half for her. I called the police and relayed exactly what she'd said. Officer Williams experienced. Briss told me they'd send a unit. Do not go there yourself, she warned. But tell me, could you sit at home knowing your sister might be trapped with a man like that? ICOULDN single quotas. So, at 2:00 a.m., I drove over. Street lamps blurred in the drizzle. My heart pounded so hard I could feel it in my ears. When his text came, I know you're outside. Come in where she gets hurt. I honestly thought I might throw up. Every step to that front porch felt like wading through cement. The door creaked open before I reached it. There he stood, Brandon. Perfect hair, neat shirt, dead eyes. Brave of you to show up. He said softly, where's Valerie? Resting. His grin didn't reach his eyes. Let's talk about this misunderstanding, shall we? Inside, the house looked staged, boxes stacked like props. And there was this moment so quick, but it burned into my brain where his right hand dropped to his waistband. And the metal glint caught the light. Then Valerie's voice cracked through the air from the stairs. Put it down. She was shaking, but standing tall, eyes on him. It's over. Brandon. They're on their way. And just like that, all that smooth arrogance drained from his face. He turned toward her, and I stepped forward instinctively, my breath stuck halfway, whispering, "Please, don't." Siren sliced through the quiet seconds later. He dropped the weapon, bolted through the back door, and didn't get 3 feet before officers tackled him to the ground. Afterward, the living room was chaos, lights flashing through the windows, cops everywhere, Valerie crying in my arms. Officer Williams squeezed my shoulder. "He's done. You both need medical checks. But you're safe now." Safe. It sounded foreign. In the weeks that followed, pieces of the puzzle clicked into place. Brandon had forged documents trying to transfer the house into Valerie's name, weaving the story online that I was unstable and jealous. He even pretended my signature was on a notary file. Drone caught inconsistencies. The fake seal, wrong dates. Brandon had literally broken into Jerem's file room under a fake pickup request. He wasn't just manipulative, he was strategic, patient. A full-blown predator. Valerie gave a full statement. I gave mine. A month later, the notebook surfaced, his business plan written like diary entries. Turns out he dated other women with inheritances, nudged each towards shared assets, then disappeared once he gained access. We found names, patterns, all logged meticulously like we were items on a to-do list. Valerie crumpled when she saw it. "I loved him," she whispered. "At least, I thought I did." I didn't have words. Sometimes silence is the only thing that fits grief that ugly. His arrest made local news. A polished businessman turned con artist. 8-year sentence. Multiple charges stacked like dominoes. During sentencing, he glared across the courtroom at Valerie and me. "You'll regret this," he hissed. And she said, "Calm as sunrise." Not anymore. Months passed. Valerie started fresh therapy, new job at a gallery, gentle smile rebuilding itself piece by piece. My mom apologized eventually, to both of us. Turns out guilt tastes better when diluted over time. The house, though, that was the turning point. I drew up a proper lease this time, rent, repairs, boundaries clearly inked. When Valerie signed, she laughed through tears. The best sister in the world just became my landlord. With love and clauses, I said. And somewhere between repainting the living room and drinking cheap Merlot on that porch, we found our rhythm again. I won't sugarcoat it, revenge didn't heal everything. But it did clear the fog. It forced truth to crawl out from under the rug where we'd both been sweeping it for years. Because sometimes growth wears a messy disguise. Sometimes it looks like rage before it feels like relief. Now, whenever people ask how we began fixing things, I tell them this. It started with a single email I was terrified to send, the night I finally decided I wasn't the quiet, reasonable one anymore. If you've ever been the Carmen in your family, the one everyone leans on till your spine aches, the one expected to be okay no matter what, listen to me. You're allowed to draw the line. You're allowed to make yourself the main character again. And if anyone calls that selfish, remind them boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you decide who walks through. So yeah, I lost a sister for a while, but I found myself. And funny thing, once you rediscover your worth, forgiveness doesn't make you smaller, it makes you steady. And that's the story of how a wedding invitation rewrote my life. Every scar, every shiver, every victory. If you made it all the way here, thank you for listening to my revenge diary. Hit subscribe so you never miss another story like this. And share it with someone who knows exactly what it feels like to finally stop being the family doormat and start being the hero of her own story.